Hello there, this is FairBinaryOptions.com, and we are continuing our Binary Options Academy projects with the series of how to trade a specific currency pair. Basically, how to trade binary options or whatever you want to trade, FX products or whatever, based on a specific currency pair. And we've discussed so far currency pairs like the Euro, US dollar and Canadian dollar, the previous one, Great Britain pound, US dollar, so everything surrounding the US dollar. But now I would like to discuss how to trade the Australian dollar and US dollar. Australian dollar and US dollar. Now, because it is the Australian dollar and the US dollar, basically this pair or this currency pair is moving based on the economic differences between the US economy and the Australian economy. The Australian economy. The first thing you need to know is that, let me take these ones from Canada from here. This was our previous project, and the first thing to remember is that the Australian dollar, it is also being called Aussie. So you will see or you will hear when you read an economic release or an economic article or a financial article that the Aussie economy is booming, or the Down Under economy is doing worse, and so on. It is referring to the Australian dollar. The Aussie pair, it is the Australian dollar and US dollar. Now, if in the United States we are talking about the Federal Reserve of the United States as the central bank, in Australia we are discussing about RBA, or Reserve Bank of Australia. The Reserve Bank of Australia is meeting on a monthly basis on Tuesday. So meeting on a monthly basis, Tuesdays. Usually is the first Tuesday of the month on a monthly basis, and each and every statement, so we are talking about a statement here, the governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia is being called Mr. Stevens. So there is a statement followed by a press conference. It is famous now that the governor of the Reserve Bank of Australia, Mr. Stevens, said multiple times what would be a correct value for the Australian dollar, US dollar, or for the Australian dollar when compared with the US dollar, and it was quite an interesting reaction. I mean, I remember one time that the guy said that a fair value would be around 70 cents on the dollar, on the US dollar, and at that very moment the Australian dollar, US dollar traded at 0.97, and it dropped like a rock for the several months to come, only to go to that level. Now, of course, that the central bank is acting when it wants to show the strength of their policy, and they cut the rates. But the Australian dollar, US dollar is a pair that offers a positive swap on the FX market. It means that each and every day or each and every trading day you are receiving an interest rate based on interest rate differential between the two currencies and between the two monetary policies of the two central banks, the RBA and the Federal Reserve. Therefore, it has more appeal to traders to buy the Australian dollar US dollar pair in order not to pay a negative swap and to receive a positive swap. So that is to be remembered. What else matters for the Australian dollar and for the Australian economy? Well, one big word comes here: China. Whatever happens with the Chinese economy is dreadful or is of vital importance to the Australian economy, because more than 30% of Australian exports are going to China. So eyes on Chinese CPI, Chinese GDP, Chinese PMIs, any sign that in China things go worse or good will influence the Australian dollar. Look at the Chinese stock market. If it drops like 20% like it dropped this year, then the Australian dollar would only follow that area because of the interconnected things between the two. economies. Let's move on with the second part with more details what to look when you trade the Aussie pair.